Hello, sis. It's Dr. T here, your menopause midwife. And I just want to talk to you briefly about something that I am going through right now. I don't know about you, but there are some times when I am going through a task and it is such a challenge for me. And sometimes I really start to doubt myself. I wonder whether or not I can actually get it done. And then I'm reminded of what self-efficacy really is. So today, I want to talk to you about the 5 R's to improving your self-efficacy. So let's get into the first one. Well, let's back up. What is self-efficacy? I know, big word, right? And a lot of us probably don't even know the definition of self-efficacy. So self-efficacy is pretty simple. It's just this. Self-efficacy is your ability to complete a task, achieve a goal, or see yourself successfully doing something. That's all self-efficacy is. So when you think about it, we're all here over our 40s probably. How many of you, remember driving a five standard shift gear car where you had to actually shift the gears yourself? Remember that? Yeah. So we didn't grow up knowing how to do that. Somebody had to teach us how to drive that standard shift car where you actually had to shift the gears yourself. And I remember learning how to drive that type of car on my dad's Mazda RX-7 when I was 17 years ago. Yes, 17 or 18. Yeah, 17, 18, or 19 years old, somewhere up in there. Learning how to drive that car. And I just remember thinking how hard it is to learn how to shift those gears, press the clutch in. Number one, to watch the RPMs, to know when to shift the gear, press the clutch in, shift the gear again. But after a while, can I tell y'all a secret? It got to be so easy that I didn't even have to watch the RPMs anymore. I could simply listen to the way the engine sounded. And that would help me to know it was time to press the clutch in and shift the gears to the next gear. So when you think about self-efficacy, that's all self-efficacy is. How many of you all are bakers out there? You didn't know how to automatically bake a cake, but the more you did it, the better you got at it. And so your self-efficacy, the way you saw yourself to successfully make those cakes, improved as you started to do it more and more and more. So here are the 5 R's to us ladies. As we go through menopause, we start to doubt our abilities in some of the things that we used to be able to do. And it's quite natural. I don't know about you, but even when it comes to some of this technology, it's just challenging to be able to get through it. And I question whether or not I can do it. But then I go back and I remember these 5 R's that I want to share with you tonight. So here's the first one. The first R in learning how to improve our self-efficacy and learning how to improve the way we accomplish tasks and successfully meet challenges and successfully achieve our goals is recall. Just like I just did with you all to share with you all me learning how to drive a 5-speed Mazda RX-7. Even now, if I were to get into a Mazda RX-7 or any other 5-speed car, do they even make those anymore? But anyway, even if I were able to get into one of those cars, I could still be able to do that because I feel very efficacious in being able to change the gears in that car to get me down the road. So the first R in knowing how to improve your self-efficacy as a woman over 40 who is still living life large and meeting challenges and setting goals is recall. Recall a time in your past, a past event where you were able to meet a challenge. Because the truth of the matter is, if you're here right now, you've already done that. You've probably just forgotten. You've achieved some goals in your past because you're here today. You're here right now. So that lets me know that you've been able to achieve some of your goals in the past. So the first R is recall. Just remember, recall. Think of some things that you've done successfully in the past. Here's the second R. The second R is reflect. How did I learn how to drive that 5-speed? It was trial and error. Some days I was good at it. Some days I was not. I can remember there being a time where I hated to hear the clutch not go in the way it needed to go in. And I would try to shift the gear and I would hear that loud scraping noise and I'd go, ugh. But that was a sign to let me know that I had done something wrong and I needed to reflect on what I was supposed to do the right way. So the second R is to reflect. Not all of our life's experiences are bad. Some of them are good. Not all of our life's experiences are failures. You've got some successes back there, sis, or else you wouldn't be here right now. So the first R is to recall. The second R is to reflect. What were those successful experiences you had? Here's the other part. What were the learning experiences? Because not everything we did was perfect. There were some things that we failed forward in, meaning you failed, but guess what? You were able to get up and keep going. So what are some things that you can reflect back on and go, yep, I was able to do that. And I may not have been successful the first time. Heck, I may not even been successful the second, third, fourth, fifth, who knows? But the fact of the matter is, eventually you did get it because you're here right now. Here's the third R. I want you to be reminded of who you had to become as you were going through it and who you had to become on the other side of it. So I shared with you that I successfully learned how to drive that Mazda RX-7. I sure did. I was successful at that. But can I share with you something I wasn't successful at? Don't tell anybody I told you this, but I actually got kicked out of college after 2 years of attending college. I wasn't successful at that. Not the first time around. And so it took me actually coming back home, hitting a reset button. Yep, even I had to hit a reset button. Gathering my thoughts, getting some more wind underneath my wings, refocusing and reshifting to be able to go back and do it again. And eventually getting an associate degree, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, and then a doctorate degree, and then becoming a licensed professional counselor. So not only did I just not give up, but I kind of did a little bit more once I found out what my sweet spot was and what I needed to do for me. And so I had to remind myself of the person that I was when I went to college, the person I was when I got kicked out of college, the person I had to become when I came home to hit a reset button, and the person I was when I entered college again. All of those people are totally different people. The truth of the matter is the person you see before you right now, she's not any of those people. I've had to grow into the person I am now. And at this age, I welcomed all of those failures. Now, at the time, don't get me wrong, it was hard getting kicked out of college. One of the hardest things I ever did. But the truth of the matter is if I had not gone through that, I wouldn't be the person I am today. So I had to remind myself of who I was when it happened and the person I became on the other side of it. Here's the fourth R, and it's to reword that negative self-talk. Let's be honest, sis. How many of you are out there talking to yourself negatively? I'm too short. I'm too fat. I can't do this anymore. Or, you know what? Where did this weight come from? Why am I having these thoughts about all of this negative talk that we say to ourselves? And guess who's always listening? You got it. It's you. So whether you talk positively to yourself and build yourself up and say sweet things to yourself, or if you talk negatively to yourself and tear yourself down, guess who's always listening? You are. So one of the things I want you to do to help build your self-efficacy as a woman in menopause going through midlife right now, to improve her self-efficacy and the way she sees herself and the way she shows up in the world, is to change the way you talk to yourself. Reword the words you are saying to yourself. Because guess what, sis? You are the one that's listening. Okay? Here's the fifth way I want you to build your self-efficacy as a woman in menopause, going through midlife, living her best life right now. You, version 2.0. Here it is. And we don't do a good job of this at all, ladies. We've got to do so much better at this. I want you to reward yourself. That's the fifth R. Reward yourself. How many of you actually celebrate the things that you do? Now, let's just be honest. Let's go back down memory lane. Some of you have children, yes? Or you're like me, you're the world's greatest auntie, right? And when your little people did something really well, you celebrated it. Yep. Whether it was giving them a hug or going to get ice cream or taking them to watch a movie or doing something, you rewarded your little person when they did great. Why did you stop doing that for yourself, sis? Why did you stop rewarding yourself for the things that you do? Listen, there's still a little person in you that loves to celebrate. And sometimes we forget the importance of rewarding ourselves for the things that we actually do. I don't know about you, but I actually get a little challenge when it comes to this, because I am so outcome driven that sometimes I forget that the journey on the inside of the outcome, the journey that gets me to the outcome, is just as important as the journey. So sometimes I have to go back and reflect, which is number 2, reflect on who I am becoming as I go through this process. And so at the end, I have to remind myself, Tracy, reward yourself for what you just done, because the truth of the matter is it's something you haven't done before. So how many of you are going to actually take time out as you go through the next few months, the next couple of years, and as you journey through this next version of you 2.0, you're going to remember these 5 R's. And you're going to say, yep, I know that I need to recall who I used to be and recall those situations where I was able to get on the other side of them. That I'm, number 2, going to reflect on some of the successes and the learning experiences that I've made it through. That part. Number 3, that you're going to remind yourself of who you become. Sis, you are an amazing person. And sometimes you just need to remember that about yourself, that it's taken so much for you to get to this space and place. And sometimes you just have to remind yourself that you are the best version of yourself. Here's the 4th one. You got to reword some of those negative conversations that you're having with yourself. Remember, you're always listening. You are always listening. And if nobody else says it, and if nobody else thinks it, it's always going on right here. So remember to reword those conversations that you're having with yourself. And here's the 5th way to increase your self-efficacy, to make it about you, sis, so that you can successfully navigate this 2.0 version of life and life more abundantly. Here it is, number 5, reward yourself. Listen, I want you to take that time out and I want you to celebrate. Celebrate you. Celebrate your successes. Some of you want to go back to school and learn a new skill. Do it. Celebrate it. Reward yourself. Some of you, you want to lose weight, or you want to become healthier physically, mentally, spiritually. Yes, reward yourself when you do that. Listen, life is about learning. Life is about loving. And you can do all of that, and it all starts here with you. So, until next time, sis, I want you to remember those 5 R's, 5 ways to improve your self-efficacy as you learn to live the 2.0 version of your life, the best version of your life. Listen, life isn't over when you get to menopause. Life is just beginning. This is you living life, the 2.0 version, the exceptional life for you, on purpose, just doing you. Thank you. And until next time I see you, sis, I love you and take care of yourself.